Now, apparently Warner Brothers have been sitting on the Matrix script written by the Wachowskis since 1994. After the success of the Wachowskis' first movie, a movie called Bound, they asked if they could direct The Matrix as well, and they gave it the green light. Now, it may be hard to imagine, but Keanu Reeves was not the original first choice to play Neo. One amusing story is that the Wachowskis actually approached Will Smith to be the lead in this film, and actually Will Smith himself has made a YouTube video where he explains exactly what happened and why he chose to turn down The Matrix and star in... just prepare yourself for this. To star in the Wild Wild West. In the video, Will explains how he had just done the movie Independence Day when he was offered the role in Men in Black, and he was worried about doing another alien sci-fi movie. Luckily, Steven Spielberg twisted his arm and persuaded him to take the role, and after that, the Wachowskis and Will had a pitch meeting for The Matrix. Now, apparently they wanted Will as Neo and Val Kilmer would be playing Morpheus. Unfortunately, Will didn't understand the vision that the Wachowskis were trying to describe to him, and ultimately he turned the film down, and he passed on the role of Neo and he went off to make that awful film, The Wild Wild West. The movie was very highly influenced by Japanese animation and martial arts films, and has earned a place very high in the sci-fi ranks, considered to be one of the best sci-fi movies of all time. And this movie is also known for making the bullet time special effect that you see in many movies these days. It's become very popular. This involves the use of many cameras stationed around the actor and all being shot at the same time. And when it is played back, you can create the effect of time being slowed down as the camera spins around the actor. And like I said, ever since this movie was released, the bullet time effect has been used many times in many different films and video games. And for me, the game that instantly comes to mind has got to be Max Payne, which I played on the PS2 back in the day. Now, whilst you're playing Max Payne, you can actually slow down the game and shoot in slow motion, like it did in The Matrix. It was a game changer. I remember loving that game, and as I played, I couldn't help but think of The Matrix. Now, let's just go back to The Matrix and discuss some of these stunts. To do a lot of these stunts, you know, the mid-air floating kicks, all the wild flips, the jumps, the casts were rigged up to wires and cranes. Now, these kind of effects are used a lot in Hong Kong action movies, and the term wire fu is used to describe those wire stunts. So the Matrix actors were rigged up to wires, and unfortunately some of the actors suffered injuries. Reeves, I believe, had back problems in the movie, and this prevented him from doing a lot of kicks. Hugo Weaving, who played Agent Smith, had to undergo hip surgery after he became injured. And also, in one documentary I saw, Carrie-Anne Moss twisted her ankle. It actually looked very nasty how she landed on it. But she actually finished the shot. She went ahead and she did the flip shot, where she's in the lobby scene and she flips off the wall. She kind of runs up the wall and does this cartwheel. She actually finished that shot with a very badly injured ankle. Credit to her, that's very impressive. But she wasn't the only one to persevere. I think many of the actors got injured on the set, but they still pushed forward and tried to get some of the shots done where they could. Even Keanu Reeves, who was very badly injured, like I just said, he had the spine injury. He apparently requested to learn his stunts on his days off so we could get it right. Reeves also showed his dedication by having his whole body shaved for the scene in the pod where he wakes up from the Matrix. Keanu Reeves also lost 15 pounds for this scene, which made the idea that he had been in this pod all his life and never used his body, never used his muscles, never ate proper food, all that more believable. And I believe this was actually the last shot in the film, so he could actually do all of those things, so he could lose the weight and shave all his hair off. Now, for the next part, let's just jack back into The Matrix and describe what's going on in there a little bit, how some of these scenes were filmed. When the characters are inside The Matrix, you notice that the simulated world seems very sterile, and there's an intentional green tint to the movie. This green tint to the colour is only used when the characters are inside The Matrix, to distinguish between the simulated world and the real world. Now, as we all know, The Matrix did extremely well, and of course 2 sequels were immediately greenlit. These 2 movies completed Neo's story, but they were nowhere near as good as the first movie,